So, Rob, what is your recommendation for people to watch as they're stuck at home today?
Okay.
What should people be watching?
Okay, now I want to preface this by saying a lot of people are always talking about my erudite tastes and how I'm a snob when it comes to movies. I have to say I have a great love of B films. I like low budget action, adventure, sci-fi, horror. And I was a big fan of the American Ninja Saga that Canon Films put out. They're hard to go back and watch now. But here's a movie that people are going to laugh, that I recommend wholeheartedly. I think it's one of the greatest low-budget action films ever made, and it stars the Boz. That's right, Brian Bosworth himself, ex-football player, ex-Seattle Seahawk, tried to get into the movies, and in 1991 he did, in Stone Cold, which is my recommendation for this movie. It was directed by Craig Baxley, who is a second unit action movie director, stuntman. The action in this movie is crazy. Brian Bosworth plays a cop who goes undercover in a motorcycle gang. And Lance Henriksen, in one of his best roles, as the long-haired, mullet-wearing leader of this badass motorcycle gang. I mean, if you like Sons of Anarchy, you're going to like this movie. And yes, is Brian Bosworth sporting frosted tips and a crazy haircut in this film that is horribly dated? Yes, he is. But he's pretty good in this movie for a non-actor to come in. William Forsythe is like Lance Henriksen. He works for Lance Henriksen. He's in that gang. This film has incredible action, incredible stunts. It is badass. The motorcycle gang is badass. The climax of this movie, I don't know what state they shot in, but they use the state capital. I mean, you got to see this movie, man. This movie is so much fun to watch, and it's really well directed, and it feels like, you think about, if you like Stallone movies like Cobra, or you like Tango and Cash or stuff like that, and you like American Ninja, and you like Invasion USA with Chuck Norris, or Good Guys Wear Black, or Above the Law when Steven Seagal wasn't a joke. This movie rules, dude. It rules. I own the Blu-ray. I can't recommend this movie highly enough. It is so much fun. Now remember, there is an Australian exploitation movie called Stone that also has motorcycles in it. That's great too if you want to watch that. But it's Stone Cold, directed by Craig Baxley, starring Lance Henriksen and Brian Bosworth, the Boz. Dude, I mean, if you're going stir crazy and you just want to see dudes get messed up, here it is. This movie rules. And Lance Henriksen, tell me he doesn't skyrocket to your number one, or at least up in the pantheon of greatest cinematic bad guys of all time. He's so good in it. It's worth watching just for Lance Henriksen.
So your recommendation today is Stone Cold. I remember we were talking yesterday when you came up with that name. You were there was such conviction in your voice yesterday when you said the movie I'm going to recommend tomorrow is Stone Cold. You were like so excited about sharing that one.
Yes, I was.
So there you go, guys. You got Rob's recommendation here of Stone Cold. All right, time for my recommendation. And mine is going to be a movie that I believe most of you have heard of, but I also know that a lot of you haven't seen. And so let me throw this one out there. I mentioned Stardust the other day. And Stardust is what I kind of call the modern Princess Bride. The fantasy fairy tale aspect. There's something about those types of movies that really gets me. Well, what other kind of fantasy epic movie can you get Jet Li, who goes by the name of, no name, Nameless, where you can get Donnie Yen as Long Sky, where you can get Tony Leung as Broken Sword, where you can get Zhang Ziyi all in one movie. I'll tell you the movie you can go and watch. It's a movie that originally came out in 2002 in China, did not get a North American release until 2004, and the movie is called Hero. Hero is wonderful. It is epic fantasy, fairy tale, adventure kind of storytelling, obviously from a very Chinese point of view. It's a beautiful story, a little complex at times, sometimes a little difficult to follow, yes. But as you follow along, you get to the Emperor of 100 Steps, and all this kind of stuff. It is just it's gorgeous. But I'll tell you the thing, Rob, that to me makes me just drop my jaw on the floor every time I watch it. This is visually the single most beautiful film I have ever seen in my life. And whenever anybody asks me from a cinematography point of view and all that kind of, just forget everything else about the movie, forget story and everything else. What is just straight up like one of the most beautiful movies you've ever seen? And I always say the same thing, Hero. Hero, every single frame of this movie is an absolute meticulously designed, well-crafted piece of art. Every single frame of this movie is something to behold. And Rob, I'll tell you what else about this. I have never seen a movie that has ever had such a comprehensive use of color. Every frame of this movie has a definitive color palette to it that is vibrant and rich and gorgeous. And hell, we haven't even started talking about the action in the film yet. I've been talking about this movie for a minute and a half now. We haven't even mentioned the action. The action is incredible. It's obviously Tony Leung, Donnie Yen, Jet Li, Zhang Ji. Of course, the movie's going to have some great action to it, and it does, and it's a beautiful fantasy and all that kind of stuff. But I am telling you what, if you want to gain an appreciation of cinematography, if you want to gain an appreciation for the art of the visuals and stuff like that, I'm telling you something, you are doing yourself a disservice if you have not watched Hero. It is a beautiful film. It's a beautiful story. It's got rich mythology and great action, iconic Chinese superstars. But on top of all that, it is just a freaking gorgeous movie. I still contend the most beautiful movie I've ever seen. So my recommendation today is going to be Hero. Now, Rob, I must confess, I have not seen Stone Cold. All I know is that's Brian Bosworth. So maybe now with your recommendation, I need to go watch that because you seem really passionate about it. Did you ever have a chance to watch Hero?
Dude, I own Hero.
Oh, of course you do.
I love Hero. I echo every sentiment that you just said. I think it's a fantastic pick. And, it's the pinnacle of wuxia, the genre. It's one of, like you said, one of the greatest, most beautiful movies you'll ever see, and it's got an incredible cast. And by the way, it also kicks ass. I mean, there's some action scenes in it that are very impressive. I mean, it's no biker gangs with Lance Henriksen as their leader.
Well, of course not.
Let me tell you, I mean, Hero, what a fine pick. I like the fact that I went a little low and you went very, very high today.
All right, guys. So those are our recommendations. As always, Rob and I would love it if when you jump down to the comment section, let us know your thoughts. Have you seen Stone Cold? What did you think of it? Have you seen Hero? If so, what did you think about? And of course, as always, keep leaving your recommendations for the other viewers as well and other readers for films that they can watch while we're all kind of bunkered down and stuck at home for a little while. So, all right, guys.